What is up, people, and welcome back to part 58 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Malaysian Grand Prix. If you've missed Season 1, Season 2, and the first 15 rounds of this third season, then you can go catch up with the card annotation in the top right corner of your screens. It was a disappointing race last time out of the Singapore Grand Prix, and it was all kind of my fault, really. I messed up the strategy going onto those two sets of ultra softs, and then I decided to go onto the wets because I knew the rain was coming down heavier, but it didn't come down heavy enough. The intermediate tyres were definitely the better tyre to be on at that time, and in doing so, that meant that we were right down the back of the field in 20th position, only beating Romain Grosjean and Felipe Massa because both of those two drivers crashed out. And it also meant that Carlos Sainz gained 25 whole points on us in the championship, bringing that gap up to 60 points as of now, so making our championship hopes get slightly slimmer, but there are still a lot of races left to go in this season and a lot of potential chances to try and get that championship back. However, let's find out what we're going to do with the research and development.
Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
No upgrades last time out at the Singapore Grand Prix, unfortunately. We missed off by a couple of resource points, but Renault, on the other hand, have upgraded their car. They've got further away from us, making them the second best team in Formula 1 at the moment, and Manor are right behind us in the vehicle performance comparison. How exactly does this put us in the stands? It's like Red Bull have also reduced the chassis weight of their cars and improved the fuel consumption as well. There you go in the top right corners. 1,122 resource points as of now, so we can't actually afford to upgrade either the chassis weight or the downforce, but it was up to you guys whether you wanted us to cease research and development. Most of you said yes, and there was actually quite a lot that said no. It was very even amongst a lot of you guys, but for now I'm going to keep it open as we go through this race. We're just going to see how this race goes, and depends on whether we should cease research and development or not. If we've lost our championship completely, we may as well just cease it because there's no point fighting for anything at the moment. But if we're still in a championship battle, then I think I may not cease research and development and head into the next couple of races with upgrades. But first of all, we do need to get resource points, and the only way to do that is to head into the practice session. So here we are at the Malaysian Grand Prix. There is that iconic grandstand at the end of the final corner, which we are going round right now. So here we are down towards the start-finish line, doing the track climatization, and just about missing out on the purple score there. Malaysia was a bit of a weird one. We really struggled to get the track climatization done, which was really frustrating for me. We couldn't get a purple score. That was the best we did, getting as close to the purple score as we possibly could, and unfortunately it was down in 22nd position after the end of FP1, but in FP2, we did manage to get the purple score on the tyre wear management. There we are, weaving the wheel in celebration. 105 points out of 105, and there we go, still down at the bottom of the field in the practice session. But FP1, FP2, practice times, they don't really matter too much. It's all about getting the resource points and trying to spend them later on through the season. And unfortunately, in FP3, we went out and did the qualifying run, but unfortunately, we could not get the target time. It was good enough for 10th place in the practice session, but that's still not that good looking in towards qualifying. You know, we need to get a good result in qualifying to try and battle with the rest of the field. So without any further ado, let's head over to that qualifying session. Here we are then in qualifying for the Malaysian Grand Prix. There you can see the sun is setting above the Sepang International Circuit. Here we are round the final corner for our first lap here in this qualifying session on the soft tyres, going down towards the line. DRS open. What's the time going to be good enough for? It's a 1:34.678. Is that going to be enough though to get us through into the next qualifying session? Yes, it is. Only just exactly same time as Esteban Gutierrez, and about a 10th separates ourselves and Felipe Massa, who got knocked out in 17th place. We have managed to get into Q2, which is great news, especially in these tracks where I do struggle with one lap pace. Coming down towards the start finish line once again for our first lap here in Q2. It's a 1:34.633. Good consistency amongst myself here in qualifying. The rain starting to come down now, I believe, and that was enough to get into Q3, in fact. So a great lap time there to get myself in Q3 in 6th position, just behind my teammate Nico Hulkenberg. So that is something I can certainly look forward to. And looks like the rain has disappeared here for Q3, going down towards start finish line at the start of the top 10 shootout. Was the lap time going to be good enough for it? So 1:34.372. That is our best lap so far in the whole entire session. Is that going to be good enough for a top spot? Not at the moment. It's only good enough for 6th place in this qualifying session. Here we are around the final corner once again, going a lot faster down towards line, 3 tenths quicker than our previous best lap time of 1:34.096. Pushes us up into 4th position in this qualifying session, just behind our teammate Nico Hulkenberg. So great lap from myself, and that was it for today's qualifying session, lining up in 4th place just behind Nico Hulkenberg. But that is a very, very solid qualifying session indeed, especially at a track where I struggle with 1 lap pace. So let's run you through the grid for today's race. Carlos Sainz lines up in pole position, doing exactly what he needs to do to try and win the Drivers' Championship. Kevin Magnussen is alongside him in 2nd, with Nico Hulkenberg and myself making it Force India 2nd row lockout. Sebastian Vettel lines up on the 3rd row, with Julian Palmer alongside him in 6th. Fernando Alonso is in 7th, with Rio Haryanto in the manor qualifying up in 8th place. Daniel Ricciardo down in 9th, with Lewis Hamilton rounding out the top 10. Can we beat Carlos Sainz in the Malaysian Grand Prix? We're going to have to do it if we want to stand any chance of winning this Drivers' World Championship. But let's find out as we head over to the race for the Malaysian Grand Prix. It's race day here at the Malaysian Grand Prix, the Sepang International Circuit, for round 16 of this season 3. This circuit is probably going to be one of my best circuits on the whole entire calendar. It's probably the best that I've performed at in my whole entire career as well. Of course, season 1 we got that amazing podium in the Renault, and then in season 2, of course, after getting taken out through turns 7 and 8, we then managed to come back and get a historical win here at this circuit. So it's a good track for myself. Look at the championship. We know there's 60 points separate Carlos Sainz and myself in the championship, so we're going to have to get a really good result if we want to challenge for the Drivers' World Championship still. The Constructors' Championship looking a lot slimmer to win, and there is Carlos Sainz, our championship rival, lining up in pole position. His lap time of 1:33.128 was good enough to get pole position. There's my engineer then on the radio telling us that we can still win the Drivers' World Championship. We just need a bit of luck, and that is certainly what we need in this season. We need Carlos Sainz to have some reliability issues in order to win this championship. Looking at the strategy for today's race so far, they want me to go for soft tyres, then for hards, and then for mediums. I think at the moment it's going to be dry throughout the whole entire race. I'm going to go for softs, hards, then mediums, because that is what the tyre wear management practice program has given me. So I think I'm going to stick to that one. And here we are getting on with the formation lap in 4th position, a lot higher up the field than we were at the Singapore Grand Prix. Of course, we were down in like 9th position for that race, just behind our teammate this time around of Nico Hulkenberg. Then we got Kevin Magnussen and Carlos Sainz. We need a good run down in towards turn 1 to try and get past all these guys, but also need to be careful not to make any contact with our teammate. That is not what we want to do in this race. So we're going to head back to the grid and get this race underway. Here we are then on the grid for round 16 of this 3rd season. So the lights come on, it's 5, red lights, lights out, and away we go for the Malaysian Grand Prix. It's a good start compared to my teammate of Nico Hulkenberg, going down in towards turn 1. Can we get the jump on Carlos Sainz or Kevin Magnussen? Up the inside, Magnussen's gone round the outside of Carlos Sainz. Hulkenberg has gone round the outside of myself. Going to maybe try a switchback move in towards turn 2, which we have executed really well there. And we're going to get a good one on Kevin Magnussen and Carlos Sainz. There's a yellow flag behind us. Is it going to go green as we go for the overtake? Yes, it does. So we get a clean overtake there over Kevin Magnussen. Down in towards turn 1. Safety car has been deployed just before we overtook Carlos Sainz. We're going to do the fair thing here. I know we've got a championship to try and win, but we are going to do the fair thing here and let Carlos Sainz back through to take back the position, because we overtook him just before the safety car was just after the safety car was deployed, sorry. So that is why we gave position back to Carlos Sainz. So far in this race we have managed to make our way up into 2nd place. Let's have a look at a replay of what happened down in towards turn 1 and 2. Watching on board Nico Hulkenberg, was there contact between the two of us going down in towards turn 2? Yes, there was the slightest amount of contact between myself and Nico Hulkenberg, and that forced him off the track into a sort of half spin and lost him out a good 3-4 positions in today's race. Luckily for him, he has got out ahead of Sebastian Vettel and the midfield, so he has still got a chance to do a good job in this race and try and get on the podium. Here's a replay on board with my teammates. He tries to hold it around the outside of turn 1. Very well done there from my teammate, who keeps on switching between the softs and the medium tyres. Not too sure what tyres he is actually on. And then there's just a little bit of contact between the two of us as I try and do that switchback move in towards turn 2 to get a good exit, which I did actually get on Kevin Magnussen and Carlos Sainz. Unfortunately, That put Nico Hulkenberg into a spin, and that is why the safety car was deployed. And here we are on the safety car restart, side by side with Carlos Sainz. He's finally gone for the jump. The yellow flag is out. We've got to wait for the green flag until we can actually go for the overtake. It's green once again. The race is underway, and here we are following in the slipstream of Carlos Sainz down in towards turn 1. We need to get past him as soon as possible, because we know that Carlos Sainz is a lot faster than us through the corners. So if we can get to him through these straights on the long run down towards turn 4, then we will have a chance of winning this race. But if we don't, then the race victory has gone, and possibly even the championship as well, because we're going to have to defend like hell against Carlos Sainz to try and get today's race win. But here we are going down in towards turn 4 behind Carlos Sainz. Can we get a dive bomb up the inside? No, we can't. Not quite there on the Toro Rosso driver. And here we go through the left-hander, and just setting right behind the Toro Rosso driver. Just look at the amount of grip, the amount of downforce that Toro Rosso has for us just through those 2 corners, running it wide as we try to keep up with him. Really struggling with the downforce on this car, and if we don't cease research and development, that is certainly going to be something that we focus on, is the downforce on this car. Cutting ahead to lap 5 right now. Look at the gap to Carlos Sainz. It's a lot bigger compared to what it was after the safety car restart. Going through the final corner now, Carlos Sainz, he has decided though to make an early pit stop in this race. We are actually going to go for a lot longer in this race, probably to about lap 8, and then try and make the hard tyres last until the end of the race. So we're just going to have to wait and see whether that actually works for us or not. Not too sure at the moment, but it certainly could do. Jenson Button at the moment in P2, and Danny Kvyat in the other Toro Rosso in P3. So it looks like Jenson Button doing a good job at the moment of holding everybody up. But as we cut ahead to later on in the race on lap 9, it looks like the rest of the field has started to filter out, as our engineer there telling us that light rain is expected to arrive within 10 minutes, which is a bit of a weird one, because on the race strategy before the race, it actually showed that there wasn't going to be any rain at all in today's race, and the skies suggest differently. But we're going to listen to our engineer now, and we are going to decide to come onto another set of soft tyres right now, because if that rain does come down, then we're going to be making a pit stop just before we go onto the intermediate tyres. So we may as well do that now and use the full potential of these soft tyres till the rain actually comes down. Then hope that the likes of Carlos Sainz and Kevin Magnussen come into the pits just before the rain comes down, because then they will be on the wrong set of tyres, and we will gain a lot of time on those guys, because they would have done an extra pit stop. So that's hopefully what's going to happen here today, but we're not too sure. We just got to hope that the rain comes down a lot later in this race. We know that we can do 9 or 10 laps on these soft tyres. We've already tested that, especially on an already worn set. So let's see how many laps that we can do on this set of softs, and hopefully the rain comes down after their pit stop before my one. That would be the perfect scenario to happen in today's race. But we have come out in 11th place, as we're asking our engineer when the rain is going to come down. He says it's going to be about 5 minutes at the moment. So it looks like Felipe Nasr, Hamilton and Palmer having a little battle there, but that's ended as Nasr has come into the pits. We won't get DRS on any of these guys going down in towards turn 1, but we will follow in the slipstream as we set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:36.1. A lot of other drivers in the pits right now, including my teammate Nico Hulkenberg, who has shot all the way down to the back of the field. So it's been a disappointing race from him ever since that incident in towards turn 2. But here we are getting another switch up move on Lewis Hamilton and Jolyon Palmer this time around, going down in towards turn 4, following the slipstream, moving over to the right hand side, braking a little bit later there than the Mercedes driver, running it a little bit too deep, but just about getting the car turned for the corner. And there we go, moving up into P5 in this race. We've got to keep Lewis Hamilton behind us, but also catch up to the Renault of Jolyon Palmer. Looks like we are very much settled on the back of that gearbox, running it a little bit too wide through the penultimate corner, but getting on the power, using the DRS, using the slipstream on lap 12, down in towards the final corner, pulling over to the right hand side. We're going to go around the outside through the final corner. We don't even have to worry about that at all, as looks like, no wait, Jolyon Palmer is having a little bit of a battle with us, trying to stick his nose in there, but can't quite do anything to keep up, and we take away 4th position from the Renault driver. Great driving so far from myself in this race, but battling with these guys does not matter. We need to battle with Carlos Sainz. I think that could be him just ahead of us on the track. If that is, then we definitely have a chance to try and get to the race victory here today. Nothing other than beating him is good enough today. And it looks like we're in second place right now here on lap 16. Carlos Sainz is coming into the pits. It's coming down with rain right now, and we're going to decide to come into the pits for a set of intermediates there. We're just running wide as we come into the pit lane, making a little bit of a mistake there, and that's going to allow the likes of Jolyon Palmer and Lewis Hamilton to catch up to us, and it could also allow one of these guys to get the jump on us, most likely Lewis Hamilton, because he is the garage first, so he could possibly get a jump on us through the pit stop phase. There's Carlos Sainz. Looks like he hasn't had any problems at all with his pit stop, and no problems at all on our end as well, getting a new set of intermediate tyres. However, Nico Hulkenberg will possibly be coming in to the pits on this lap, so unfortunately for him, he's probably going to get held up in the pit lane, which is really unfortunate for my teammate. His race has gone from bad to worse here at the Malaysian Grand Prix, but we've got out just ahead of Jolyon Palmer there still in second place in this race, I believe, although there could be another driver still out on track at the moment. Not 100% sure on that. We just have to wait and see how this race develops. But we are in a net second position still, which is absolutely fantastic. Here we are cutting ahead a little bit later on in the race, going through the penultimate corner right now. Jolyon Palmer very much on our gearbox as of now, doing what we did to him earlier on in the race on lap 12. Jolyon Palmer going for an overtake hit this time though, up the inside, down in towards the final corner. Can we hold it around the outside? We're going to try locking up just a little bit, holding it around the outside, drifting a little bit too deep, but we're going to get a great exit out of this corner, down in towards turn 1. And we don't even have to worry at all between the battle of myself and Jolyon Palmer. There we go, get in the position, down in towards turn 1 and holding on to second place for the time being. Carlos Sainz though still leading the way, and he has a huge margin over us at this stage of the race. But here we are on lap 19 with Jolyon Palmer right behind us, going through turn 8 right now, down towards the hairpin of turn 9. What can he do into this corner? He goes up the inside, down in towards this very tricky hairpin. Can we get a switchback on him? Yes, we can. A great move there on Jolyon Palmer, getting the switchback move on the Renault driver, getting a little bit caught on the curb there. You do not want to do that, as you can see, I just run it a little bit wide in towards that corner. But a great move on Jolyon Palmer to get the switchback move in towards the hairpin and hold on to second place as we're here on lap 19 at the moment. Looking at a battle between, I think that was a McLaren and a Mercedes. Yes, it is, as they go down in towards turn 1. Starting lap 20 right now. Following on board with Jenson Button, he's got a slipstream on Lewis Hamilton, going down in towards turn 1. No, I think that might be Nico Rosberg. In fact, not too sure which Mercedes driver that was, but I believe it was Nico Rosberg. As we get the switch move in towards turn 2, he doesn't have to worry about that, as he has already got the position on Nico Rosberg, which I can confirm it is Nico Rosberg, as he goes down in towards turn 4, still on board with Jenson Button right now. Is he going to catch up to the two Red Bulls and go on for a bit of a battle? No, he's not. It looks like he may have a front left puncher, which he does. Disappointment there for the McLaren of Jenson Button. He was doing so well at the start of the race when he was running in second place on those hard tyres, and now with the rain coming down, it's really screwed up his race, getting that puncher on the intermediate tyres at the worst possible time on one of the worst possible circuits. You know, you have to drive all the way back to that pit lane, and that's going to be a huge struggle for Jenson Button. He's going to lose out a lot of time and a lot of positions, but here we are on lap 22 at the moment, looking like there is a driver coming into the pits here on lap 22. I don't think it's time to come onto the dry tyres just of yet. So is Carlos Sainz going onto a new set of intermediate tyres? I think he is. I think that Carlos Sainz has come into the pits for a new set of intermediate tyres. And are we going to come out ahead of the Toro Rosso driver down towards turn 1? And there he is on the right-hand side. We've got the job done on Carlos Sainz, moving up into the lead of today's race. And it looks like all the train of cars behind me has also got past the Toro Rosso driver as well. If it can dry up right now and go to dry tyres, that would be absolutely fantastic, because that would mean that Carlos Sainz is right down the back of the field and I will gain loads of points on him in the championship. But unfortunately, that is not the case. It is not time for the dry tyres just of yet. And a load of the guys behind me coming into the pits for a new set of intermediate tyres as well. So Carlos Sainz doing a bit of an undercut on those guys, and he is now right behind me in today's race. So it's going to be very, very difficult to try and defend from Carlos Sainz, especially with the track drying. It's a 2-3 at the moment for Toro Rosso, which isn't what we need at all. And here we are on lap 24, deciding to now coming into the pits for a new set of dry tyres. We unfortunately have to go onto the medium tyres because we have already used both our available sets of softs. We have no more soft tyres available to us in today's race, apart from one set that we used in qualifying that we actually used quite a lot in the qualifying session. So we don't particularly want to use that set of tyre because it is going to wear out very quickly, and I don't think it's going to make it till the end of the race. So we have to go onto a set of medium tyres, whereas Carlos Sainz, he can go on a set of softs, which means he's going to be quicker than us over these last couple of laps. But if we can do a good job of defending, which I know I am capable of over previous races, then I'm sure that we could possibly try and stay out ahead of Carlos Sainz. We're going through turn 2 right now. Carlos Sainz, I don't think he's going to have anything at the start because I'm very good at getting the tyres up to temperature and just pushing straight from coming out the pits, whereas the other drivers, they take a little bit of time to warm up their tyres and get ready for the race. But here we are on board with Carlos Sainz now on the end of lap 25, coming through the final corner down towards turn 1. Can Carlos Sainz do anything to get past us? Moving over to the right hand side, down in towards turn 1. We're going to push him over to the pit wall as much as we possibly can to try and get a better line through turn 1. Hold it around the outside, but looks like we're just behind him. Are we going to do the switchback move on the Toro Rosso driver? We know that it works. We've definitely gone for it. We've fully committed to the switchback move on the power right now, following in the slipstream of Carlos Sainz. Doesn't look like it's working just of now, but down in towards turn 4, it's going to have to be a late braking move in towards this corner, which it is on Carlos Sainz. A little bit of wheel banging, a lot of sparks flying through turn 4, and we just about managed to get position. I think that's going to be allowed from the race stewards, just because there's so much, you know, rivalry between me and Carlos Sainz at this stage of the season, especially as we are battling for the championship, and so much has happened over the course of the season with us two battling for the championship, as well as we are under pressure once again from the Toro Rosso driver down in towards the hairpin. Are we going to do a similar move like we did on Jolyon Palmer? We try it, but we just don't have enough grip on this set of medium tyres compared to his super softs, and they're losing the back end through that corner, running very, very deep into the right-hander, and unfortunately I think that's going to lose us position to Carlos Sainz. I don't think we're going to have anything to attack with down the two long DRS straights, and unfortunately that position has gotten away from us as we're on board with Nico Hulkenberg, who has had an engine failure in today's Malaysian Grand Prix. The Force India's race has gone from bad to worse. I say from bad, we are still running in second place, but Nico Hulkenberg is going to be out of today's race and not scoring any points at all. So we're on board with Carlos Sainz right now, coming through the final couple of corners down this first DRS straight. He has one more corner left to go in this race. Please have an engine failure or something, just so that I can catch up in the championship. I don't think it's going to happen. Through the final corner for Carlos Sainz, down towards the line. He's had a great race here at the Malaysian Grand Prix. You cannot take him away. You cannot take that away from him. And we're going to have to settle for second place in this Malaysian Grand Prix. The title hopes are still alive, but they are getting harder and harder to try and win this championship. A good race there from myself in today's Malaysian Grand Prix. It's just disappointing that Carlos Sainz did beat me on that forced stop strategy and has gained 7 points in the championship, taking the gap in the championship now to 67 points with 5 races left to go. It's getting tougher and tougher to win this championship, but we're still going to try as much as we possibly can. Carlos Sainz, though, he is today's race winner, with myself finishing in second. Kimi Räikkönen finishes today's race in third, with Lewis Hamilton in fourth. Danny Kvyat in the other Toro Rosso getting some nice points for the Toro Rosso team, finishing in fifth place. Jolyon Palmer is down in sixth, with Pascal Wehrlein getting into the points for Manor there with a lovely 7th place. Sebastian Vettel down in 8th position with Max Verstappen 9th, and Roman Grosjean gets the final point in today's race. Nico Rosberg, he'll be disappointed with his race today, battling with Jenson Button earlier on in the race before he had that punch, and I guess maybe there was a bit of front wing damage for him, as that caused him to be down in 11th place. Disappointment there from the other Mercedes driver. Looking further down the field then, and Daniel Ricciardo down in 14th place. Not a good race for him. Jenson Button in the end finishing in 17th after getting that punch, and not the best of races for him as well. And Kevin Magnussen starting in 2nd place on the grid, down in 19th place. He had a really disappointing race then, having to make an extra stop somewhere, so he must have had a collision with someone, and there is my teammate Nico Hulkenberg at the back of the field, scoring 0 points because of that engine failure. So disappointment there for my teammate. In the driver's standings then, like I already said, 67 points is the gap between Carlos Sainz and myself, making our championship hopes very slim at this stage of the season. But we have still got 5 races to go. However, they are 5 very tough circuits for myself. I've never done well at Japan. I've only probably the best ever result in any game of F1. I've probably got like 10th position, which is probably like my best result. So, you know, it's not a good circuit for myself. Neither is really USA, Mexico, Brazil or Abu Dhabi. So it is going to be a struggle to try and claw back this Drivers' World Championship, but we are going to try our best. Looking at the Constructors' Championship though, and Toro Rosso have got further away from us, which is really disappointing. 161 points is the gap at this stage of the season, and you can pretty much say that Toro Rosso are the Constructors' World Champions. We have to pretty much get a 1-2 in every single race and hope that Toro Rosso don't finish any races across the rest of the season, which is highly unlikely, especially with how well the Toro Rosso team has done this season. But that is it for today's Malaysian Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Looking at the rivalry update between myself and Danny Kvyat then after today's race. And we actually did beat Danny Kvyat in today's race, but unfortunately not getting the faster lap than him because he was on the soft tyres at the end, whereas I was on the medium tyres. So disappointment there against Danny Kvyat. So it's 20-16 right now between the two of us.
Hey, good to see you again. The team are now ready to start development on some new upgrades. You can review these from within the laptop. I'll speak to you later, okay?
So you might be thinking right now, the background looks a little bit different, and that is because I accidentally just went to the next race last time around at the Malaysian Grand Prix. So we didn't actually make any upgrades after Malaysia, which is really frustrating because they won't come at this race for the Japanese Grand Prix. They can see McLaren, Honda and Sauber all upgrading their cars, and we've got 1,627 resource points to spend, which means that we're only going to do one thing. We are going to upgrade the downforce on this car. There's nothing else that I really desperately need to upgrade, especially heading into the next couple of tracks. Downforce is going to be the most important. I would have loved to have it here at this Japanese Grand Prix because it's going to be very important here, but unfortunately I did not get it done in time because I accidentally went to the next race, so that is disappointing. But I'm not going to cease research and development. I know a lot of you have said to do it, whereas a lot of you have said not to do it. But in my opinion, after that Malaysian Grand Prix, we were losing so much time to Carlos Sainz through the fast corners. And, you know, if we upgrade the downforce further, then that's going to be our best chance to try and catch up to them. So that is what we're going to do. We are going to upgrade the downforce even further. We're not going to cease research and development, and we are going to still try and battle for this championship. I know the gap is 67 points at this stage, but it is still mathematically possible, and I am not going to give up on this championship until it is mathematically impossible to win the Drivers' World Championship. So you can expect that from me. You can expect me to have a championship battle all the way till the end. But that's it for today's Japanese Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for daily Formula 1 career content. That's right, I did say at the Singapore Grand Prix it was coming back to daily F1. I think I said it was going to be back on the Saturday. My mistake, I didn't actually get it done in time. But now, from now on, it is going to be daily career mode. So tomorrow you can expect the Japanese Grand Prix. After that, you can expect USA. It's going to be daily all the way up until Abu Dhabi, the season finale. And then we're going to take a little break, but then get back into a daily series for Season 4. So you can certainly look forward to that as well. But I'll see you next time at the Japanese Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.